30-year-old Swedish freelance journalist Kim Isabel Fredrika Wall had a promising career ahead of her. One of Kim's upcoming career endeavors was to interview the Danish inventor and entrepreneur Peter Madsen. In early 2017, she had requested an interview with him, but Madsen didn't agree until August. As a bit of an eccentric, Madsen invited Kim to interview him alone on his homemade submarine UC-3 Nautilus. Kim agreed, but only planned to be there for 2 hours, as she and her boyfriend were throwing a going-away party to celebrate their planned move to Beijing later that month. On August 10th, Kim boarded the submarine, and this photo was taken. In it, Kim smiles, standing with her upper body above the submarine's tower hatch. At her side, looking...
Alright, what happened? Did he hurt her? Did the submarine go down? Were they hit by some enemy missile? Like, what happened?
Over his shoulder is Peter Madsen. Kim was apparently afraid to go into the submarine, according to her boyfriend. Kim's boyfriend became concerned when Kim never arrived at their party. He went in search and reported Kim missing, but then Madsen was found. The morning after Kim had come to interview him, he was rescued from his submarine after it foundered. Despite being aboard a sinking submarine and nearly trapped within, Madsen was discovered to be calm and serious and unshaken by the frightening events. But there was no sign of Kim. Initially, Madsen claimed that he had dropped Kim off after her interview concluded, but as you will see, that wasn't the case at all. Something about the damage to the submarine was suspicious to the authorities, who saved Madsen, and they soon suspected that he had intentionally scuttled the ship. But why would Madsen destroy his own submarine? And where was Kim Wall? The ship was eventually raised up, and there was no evidence of Kim on board. Yet Madsen's calm demeanor and matter-of-fact recounting of the night's events was unnerving. When researching, I found quite a few different accounts of that night, and it turns out Madsen gave multiple different stories, none of which added up. This is probably why he came under suspicion in the first place, along with the fact that the submarine never docked after Kim boarded. So no matter what he said, nothing could explain how Kim could be safe if the submarine never came back to land until after it had foundered. Because of this, Madsen was swiftly arrested after his rescue.
That sounds like a stupid lie, too. Like, I dropped her off. You just dropped her off in the sub, and then the sub went down, ironically.
Initially, he was charged with negligent manslaughter, as police suspected Kim's fate had been an unfortunate accident. And at first, Madsen changed his story again to match this assumption. But soon more evidence washed ashore. Among the rocky shore, the cyclists noticed something peculiar, and they slowed down, coming to a full stop near the misshapen lump that they just couldn't quite identify. It was part of a woman's body, her torso beheaded and without limbs, and bearing the marks of stab wounds congregated around the groin. Body parts just kept washing up on the shore. And at first, no one was sure who the...
See, ladies, and there's a lot of y'all right now doing YouTube channels and being content creators and shit like that. Listen, man, it's all kind of interesting creeps out there. They're just looking for an opportune moment. Just like that FedEx driver that snatched that baby that we talked about the other day. They're looking for that opportune moment to show you the kind of monster that they are. Don't give them everything they need to be that monster to you. You know what I'm saying?
They found Kim Wall's head in a plastic bag. Madsen maintained that Kim's death had been an accident, though he soon admitted that he had been the one to dismember and dispose of her body in the sea.
You're not gonna tell me nothing about no accident when you stabbed her up like that.
Madsen's explanation was that while he had been up on the deck, the air pressure within the submarine suddenly dropped and caused toxic fumes to fill the air supply.
Well, doesn't it take more than one person to run a submarine? You know what I'm saying? This asshole didn't have a crew, and if he was doing it by himself, I expect it to go down and kill everything.
Why? Killing Kim. The problem is the medical examiner can't determine the exact cause of death, because Kim's body had been exposed to water.
Yeah, but I don't buy none of that. He stabbed her up. That's enough. He was a weirdo. That's enough explanation right there.
For so long and
not decapitated, because she could have accidentally died, and then he decapitated her, trying to cover his tracks, trying to, you know, throw everybody off of it. But the fact that he stabbed her up like that, hatred and rage and anger and just weirdo shit.
Composed. However, the coroner testified that they were doubtful that Kim's death was caused by carbon monoxide poisoning.
I ain't buying it.
Though it was possible, but thought it was more likely strangulation, a cut to her throat, or drowning. What the medical examiner did know for certain was that Kim's body had sustained more than 14 wounds and cuts. But Madsen had an explanation. He claimed he slashed her body to prevent the buildup of gases that occurs when a person dies. That way she would sink to the seabed. He also admitted that he dismembered her because he couldn't lift her body off the submarine otherwise. Well, it didn't make sense to the judge. Madsen was found guilty of premeditated murder, aggravated assault, and desecrating.
Super premeditated. I mean, you set up a lonely meeting with this woman in a submarine. Like, yeah, I don't get it.
A corpse and sentenced to life in prison. I can't help but wonder what Kim was thinking when that chilling last photo of her was taken. Did she have any idea?
Imagine that she's in there, she ready to do this interview, she already a little nervous. And then he closes the latch. And he's like, gotcha. And she realized what's happening. And she think of how ridiculous it sounds. I'm by myself in a submarine with this crazy man.
Idea of the horror that was waiting for her in that submarine.